Meantime, so here is our town council, typical town council meeting, and the town council is going to get reports from all of you guys that went out and talked with the departments, and then at the end, town councilors get to have some comments about what they've heard in the reports. So here we go. Okay, so who was with the town clerk? Where are the town clerks in the room? All right, come on up, and you guys just give a little bit of a report on what you learned. You were the only one?
Yep.
No, you can come right there.
All right.
There you go. And just describe what you learned and
Hi, Jill.
fill the council in.
Hello.
Yeah.
The town clerk does lots of things. They have a census of who lives in the town, which that helps have funding for certain the school. So if they know how many kids are going to the school, they can have more money. Right. The school. They also register people to vote. If anyone wants one, give it.
What are we again?
Almost there. Pass it out. Also, dog tags. When you get a dog, you have to register it. Birth certificates.
We all have one of those.
Yep. They have some really old records in the vault. It's pretty cool from the 1600s. Lots of stuff to do every day, I guess.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, how often do you update these things, like birth certificates and dog licenses?
Well, they're starting to put all the birth certificates online. I think it's up to the 1950s. I'm pretty sure. So anyone after 1950, 53, I think, their birth certificate would be online.
Okay. You're shitty.
Oh. I don't have another question. Oh, tell us about the way how you had to be able to read before 1965,
right.
the slip.
So there's a literacy box, and so there was little snippets of the Massachusetts Constitution in it. So you'd have to pick out a piece and read it out loud to show that you could actually read. But it got outlawed in 1965.
There's also a seal, correct?
Yes, there's a seal to show it's from Bridgewater. It's kind of. Do I have it on here? I don't know if you guys want to look at it. The seal. Yeah. I don't know. It's the Bridgewater seal, and there's a lot of symbols on it. And I think on the sheet it says what
The symbols are explained on these papers that we got.
Did
All right.
everyone get those?
Yeah, everybody got them, I think.
Awesome. Thank you,
Okay,
Jill.
thank you, town clerk.
All right, so next up is finance. So if you can't see your department on the list, that's because finance is made up of really 3 or 4 different departments. So why don't we first listen to a report from the assessors? Who is with the assessors? Come on up. Assessing is one of those areas that's really confusing even for people that have been doing this for a while, including me. So fill us in on what you do.
Hi, Daria.
Hi, Sarah. So assessors basically just help establish and decide taxes for people in the town, businesses in the town, personal property taxes, cars, even boats, despite the fact there's only one lake in the town. And so they basically, there's a lot of different standards and stuff that was kind of long and a little confusing. But that's basically the gist. There's also programs to help people who maybe can't pay their taxes or can be exempt from it. So the elderly, they can defer their property tax and stuff like that. So
How many people work in that department?
work in it?
Yeah.
Well, there was one chief assessor and then 2 other people who I forget their job titles.
Yeah.
But one chief assessor basically.
So, how often do the taxes change?
Well,
they
it was
increase?
a tax rate, the town tax rate can change 2.5%, but personally that affects everyone differently, if that makes sense.
Based on their occupation and what their living situation is like?
It depends on the tax. Well, the car I don't really know. Sorry, it was so much information at once. It's like the property tax. You pay like a tax on your property based on like the assessment of it. Like they go hire a company to like assess it, and then with that number is like what you pay for property. But that's like different with cars and everything else. There's a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Julio.
Okay, who was with the accounting department? Where do I see? Oh, come on up. All three.
It's gonna be good.
This is where the town councilors really, really dig in, is finance. So just tell us what you learned.
You look the sharpest, so you gotta go.
Hello, boys.
All right, so in the accounting office, we learned all the money values that the town will bring in and how we get the money from taxes. Also, the government gives some and all that, and then we have to we have to calculate all of it, and we don't decide, but we see how much money we can put towards the fire department or the police or whatever area needs some funding most, the schools.
So how do you prioritize that? Like who gets what help first?
It seems the schools always get the most money first, but but it's all based on need. It's not like this group always gets more than others.
Ms. President, through you to the accounting department.
Wait, what did you say?
I have to ask you if I can ask a question.
Say yes.
Oh, yes.
So gentlemen, did the department talk to you about how they will hopefully become more, less conservative on their revenue projections? Did they talk about that at all?
No, nothing. No.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll follow up. We'll follow that up on the next meeting.
The Mitchell School.
Any other questions?
So, like, something's formed in my head. I'm trying to think. So, like, these taxes go towards, like, come back to the people, right? Like, in a way, like, they pay these taxes, but, like, it benefits them, like, in the long run, with better fire departments and police departments and things like that.
So the taxpayers pay their money, and then we evaluate all the money we have and put it towards a budget, and we align the money in potential areas of where it could go to. The finance department doesn't decide where the money goes.
They just break it up and...
Yes.
Okay. That makes sense.
Good answer.
Anything else?
All right, so before we get to elder affairs, so I don't forget, we left one off the list, and that's the town attorney. So where's the town attorney? Come on up.
Another lawyer. It's an open meeting violation.
Sorry about
Well, that's
Violation if you talk.
that's what,
Why am I not on this?
so that's worth just a quick note before I let you go. In Massachusetts, it's very important if you're going to have a subject matter on an open meeting or a council meeting, it has to be on the agenda. So technically, you guys, we wouldn't allow you to speak because you're not on the agenda. But since this isn't a real town council meeting, is it?
Yes, it is.
You'd be getting,
Hello.
you'd be getting a lot dumber questions if it was a town council meeting.
All right, so you guys tell us what you learned in the legal world of town.
So in the legal world of town, we give objective legal advice where, go ahead.
That means basically we tell the councilmen what they need to hear, not what they want to hear.
Oh, okay. Did he tell you to say that?
Definitely not. So is it just the councilmen or around town you help with legal advice?
I think it's mainly councilmen
councilmen.
because
Alright.
they represent the people.
Yeah.
So then
Yeah.
If people usually come to us, it's usually to like tell us that they don't like the advice that we give them. So
So what are like
Yeah,
some examples
sure.
of problems that people will come to you with?
probably like so. So like if so during a meeting, if like someone were to like get up to or like if we make sure like the meeting like runs accordingly. So if someone was to like get up to talk and like they're not supposed to, we'd be like, no, you can't do that, and like keep the meeting in check and stuff, and basically make sure like all like the legal terms are like.
What credibility do people have to come up to the podium?
You have to be on the agenda.
Yeah. Come on,
Like, oh, you
Sarah.
just sit down like randomly? Like, oh, sorry, you can't speak today.
So in essence, we violated our own rules by allowing you to speak.
Yes.
We should have made a motion, but that's okay.
So you have to be on the PowerPoint.
Yes.
Is what you're saying.
You have
Okay.
to be on the agenda.
You have to be lucky enough to be graced by the PowerPoint, and then
Grace. No, that's thank you guys
Thank
so
you.
much.
oh, thank you.
Okay, so let's, Elder Affairs. Who's from Elder Affairs? Come on up. And tell us what you learned.
We learned that they don't sleep there. What else?
Fascinating.
They solely run on volunteer work pretty much all the time.
So
and
if you want to volunteer, sign up.
we did today.
Yeah, we did today.
Oh, Meals on Wheels. Yes, they need they need people to volunteer to drive to people's homes and drop off meals Monday through Friday on wheels in a car.
What happens if you run short on staff? Volunteers.
That's a good question. Take over.
I don't think they would normally run short.
That's good.
I hope so.
People help the community. That's good.
Do you know what your daily agenda looks like?
It depends on what you do.
Would you like to see it?
Yes, please. You may
There's
approach
Zumba
the
Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Zumba.
Zumba.
Oh, nice. So it's all like laid out. There's times.
Yeah.
Like, so no
It's
confusion.
different every day.
Okay. Cribbage.
Keeping it.
There's bingo. There's bingo.
Arthritis exercise.
There's chair yoga
That's good.
Line dancing.
Yeah, today they were making jewelry
and painting.
and painting.
Better than we can.
So they can just like
So
show up to the senior center if they want, have a
Well,
fun day.
there's like for different activities, like there's a fee for them,
And
depending.
it doesn't go to the people that volunteer. It goes to, like today they were making jewelry. The money that they paid for the fee went to the jewelry.
all
that
right.
the
Yeah.
woman came
Keeping
in.
it running, keeping it different.
So they
right?
help like local like communities and like organizations and things
Yes,
like that.
and anyone's welcome. It doesn't need to be someone from Bridgewater.
That's some good work you guys are doing.
Anything
Oh,
else?
thank you. Oh, well,
Take us back. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. How about the library? Who went to the library? All right, come on up. Let us know how it was.
hello.
Hello.
Hi. Today we learned that the library's main goal is to encourage education and offer opportunities through resources that are either free or very affordable, and programs that run quite frequently, and to encourage civility in the town.
Do you guys sorry, update your resources often?
Yes.
That's good.
Go ahead. So you're talking about like the town libraries,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Oh, yeah. I thought
Not
yep.
like
no, yeah.
the town hall
that makes
library.
sense.
Like,
I
that's
thought
not
it
a
was a
thing.
town hall.
Because there's like things that the libraries do, like You can get like kids there to like read together.
Oh
things
yeah,
like
the
that, right?
community
Yeah.
events.
I mean,
Yeah,
there's a lot more in the summer because the summer is more free, so they have one
I know,
like, at
chess
least every day in the
club
summer.
and-
But
Like
reading
summer
events.
reading, things like that.
That's good. Anything else you have to tell us?
Could I ask one
Oh,
question?
go ahead. Yes.
Could you talk about one book, one community? Did you talk about that at all?
we talked about it a little, specifically pertaining to an author, something Angel, one of the nurses.
She was a nurse that I think it was World War II, Angels Over Bataan, and she was held. They were prisoners
held
of war.
captive. Yeah.
And it was a book that we read. It was a one book, one community book that
She wrote a
the
book
town
about her
read.
experiences, which was a one book, one community book.
So do you guys have any kind of like donations to like help out communities and reaching their education goals that they want? Like donating books and resources? Or no? Do you get things like that together?
Well, I mean, the library mainly is the resource. I mean, there is sales? Because it's like,
the book sale that is there are books sold for $1 in the basement.
oh, I meant, true, that is true. There
That
a
is all
bookstore.
based off of
I meant the
donations.
sales network thing, though, where all the libraries are connected, basically. So if there's a book in the library that they don't have that someone wants to check out, they can contact the rest of the network and they'll send it over.
That's cool. So there's always a way to get a resource or a book that you want.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Thank you.
All right, so how about health? Who was in the health department? Come on up.
Oh boy.
Health is one of the most difficult areas because it spans such a wide variety. But tell us what you learned.
Would you like to go first? Oh, thanks. We learned that the health department kind of regulates over like the food industries around town and like the septics around town and make sure everything's safe for people to like eat from or have in their house and like it's not dangerous to them at all.
And like on food inspections, you take one of these forms that are from the state, and you can go there and make sure that they're up to code and like anything that like may be considered critical, like red critical or blue critical, which are like two different things, which might cause you to have to be condemned or anything like that, to make sure that these problems are fixed before they go any further. And then the health department also does with burial notices. So if somebody is buried in the town, they have to make sure that that goes through and is processed through the state website.
The same with like building like new developments, they have to make sure like the whole septic system is okay while they're building it to make sure like the house is able to hold people.
Yeah. So will people come to you with problems and be like, yeah, this restaurant's really gross, like you guys should check it out? Or like, is this just you guys solely doing like inspections like on your own?
Well, if there's a complaint, you have to kind of like look at it. Like if someone gets sick, you have to look into it. Like in case there's like an illness that might be spreading, you have to go in and open up an investigation into it. But like if it's someone like one person who complains, there could be like something else that's going on, and really it's not a big issue.
Yeah.
And then you don't notify them beforehand so that you get the proper like inspection, right? That's good.
They usually know like the approximate like area of time, but they don't know the day or time that you're actually coming. So
Yeah.
you can, like, catch them.
So then what happens if someone fails an inspection?
Or
doesn't
if
have
they
the proper
fail an inspection, it depends like how they fail. So if they have something called like a red critical, that means it's something that needs to be fixed that like can't be done at the moment. So that has to take like overtime, and they have to be checked in often. Or it's something like a blue critical. So something like a blue critical is like if some like food wasn't covered like with like properly, then they'd be marked down for that, but they'd fix it like right in the moment instead of something that takes longer time.
What kind of criteria completely like you have to shut them down? What would they have to do?
Probably something like in the red critical area, which would be like the reporting of diseases by like a food employee or personnel infections / restricted area.
Do you guys have like a time frame, or do you give restaurants a time frame if there's a problem, like they get a certain amount of time to fix it, or else like they'll be shut down?
Well, certain ones, if they're more of like more dangerous or more highly risk, like you'll visit them more often versus ones that like are generally safer, you would visit less often.
Looks like you guys are doing your job.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to skip over one. We're going to go to conservation. Who was our conservation agent? You can throw in a little town engineering too if you want.
So Dan and I were the town engineers and conservation today. So basically we look at everybody's property, and if they want to build something, we determine how close it is to the wetlands. And Dan will tell you how wetlands are determined, but basically if it endangers like wildlife, we got to think of like the ecosystem and everything. And we went to properties today, and we're seeing a bunch of houses build, and 250 houses affect the environment. So you got to like think about all the paperwork that goes into it to get approved.
So wetlands are determined by if an area has like 50% of the plants determined in the Wetland Act, and if the land is within 100 feet of it, they have to get like checked by
the conservation committee.
That's good. Yeah. Do you have anything to say? Thank you. That was good. Good report.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, let's hear from community and economic development and planning. Right. Tell us what's going on.
So we got more of the planning aspect and pretty much what goes into that. So we started off with like paperwork. If you want to do a project for building or like a road or anything, you got to make sure everything you want checks with the criteria. And if it does, then you sign the paperwork and stuff, and then you're able to start it. And then we also learned about mapping. So that's a way to determine certain things like specific types of housing in certain areas of the town. There's certain areas that allow 3-family homes, 2-family homes, and then there's areas that are only single-family homes. So it gives you visuals of where you're able to do projects that you want. So another one would be like a fire department. They're pretty close together. So they're thinking about moving one of them across the other side of town so they cover more of a greater area. So it really helps you with the planning aspect of the visuals, so you're able to see what you want. Yeah.
So do you guys work with the engineering team to make sure you're not building on any wildlife or any important land like that?
Yes. We went to someone's house today. They're trying to redo their backyard. And it's like on a slope, so it's like up here and then it goes down, so they want to fill that out. And we pretty much had to check the parameters and see if they were able to do it, and if the soil and the dirt would be able to drain like when it rains, or if it would flood. So.
All right.
Thank you.
Ms. President, through
Wait 1 second.
Sorry.
All right, how about fire? Where are the firefighters?
Oh boy.
Food is very important.
So you guys came back late, so I assume you were putting out a fire.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
TikTok here.
Hello.
hi.
Tell us about your experience.
Well, our fire department is more than you think. We don't just go to calls, We're pretty, in depth. There's a lot that we have to do. And like Greg or I don't know, somebody mentioned, we need a new fire department.
How come?
Yeah, so right now we have the one here, and then we have one, it's east a little bit. And
It's actually down on Plymouth Street.
yes, right over there, and they are very close together. So when we have a call on the opposite side of town, it takes us a while to get there. So what we need is one over by the NIP in order for us to have a better response time throughout the whole entire town.
And this building is just not suitable anymore. We have a leaky roof. We can't properly fit our equipment in there.
Wait a minute.
Open lockers.
This building was when we had horses. When we were using horses for our fire department. Not ladders, not towers.
Our chief's office is about the same size as his car.
So how much money is it going to cost to get a new building?
So we are looking at public donations of maybe land, and with some creative funding, that could help, but it's still going to be around $10 million, which is about a tenth of your budget.
Pretty steep.
Yeah, considering we only have.
But the question is not how much is it going to cost, but how much good is it going to do? We need it for the town.
Right.
The price
So then,
later.
Okay,
Are you guys not working with the building division to work on these problems and like discuss the leaky roof and the car-sized office?
We're working closely with financing. They get us what we need. We actually have a new ambulance coming in August, hopefully A5.
Yep.
That'll be great for the town.
Okay. That's gonna help because every time that ambulance brings someone to the hospital, we get some money for that.
Just today we had a call down on our station in Plymouth Street. We had a call. A2 had to go take somebody to the hospital, and then before we came here, we had another call. One of our ambulances, A1, had to go down to that side of town because we didn't have ambulances of the staff down there.
And that's not where it was supposed to be. It's stationed up
So
here.
what if there's a call over there?
And then
guess what? Our ambulances are over there.
As we were walking in here, we got another call. So A3 had to leave, and now we're out of commission. What are we gonna do? We need more ambulances. We need about 20 more men. We are
just men, no women.
We actually have our women, but guess what? We don't have women. We don't have women's lockers rooms.
Yeah, where are they supposed to change? Just out in the open.
We have it for the men. They can
need a better.
We'll take that into account into our budget account. We're listening to you.
We're just talking about fire departments. Like the police department doesn't seem to be a problem, and
they're doing fine.
Do you see our fire station?
Like we don't need another police department anywhere else. Like they're reaching. I should probably talk to police.
Yeah, that's not me.
Have you ever tried to get around this rotary at 5 p.m.? Try it in an engine.
Hey, I'm not like. Hey, this is a civil discussion here. All right, thank you.
No, we hear
Thank you for bringing your.
You have permission to
I'd just
speak.
like to say I was very impressed with Chief Levy. I didn't see his lips moving at all.
I was going to say, if you were the town manager, you might recommend that the chief's car is too big and that we get a fleet of horses. All right. So now, not to be outdone, how about the police department?
Oh boy.
Oh yeah. All right.
We have quite a few concerns with the police department, so.
Well, me and Caroline went to the police department. The police department is like the public defenders of the town, so there's been a serious shift in calls in the town. So what we used to get was house breaks, car breaks, stolen cars, property crimes, et cetera, yada yada.
Right.
Now the calls for service are mental health, opioid overdoses, domestic disputes,
okay.
disturbing calls. Same whole nine. But
sorry, go ahead.
We are a part of a study, and because we're a part of the Brockton area, so we're in an overdose pilot study, and we're trying to reduce overdoses. And it measures 21 different pieces of info on each overdose for Brockton area departments, and we're a Brockton area department, so. Yeah.
So how should the town combat these mental illnesses and the opioids and things like that? Like, can the town do anything to help? Obviously not do drugs, but.
Well, we are part of that study, so hopefully the results that come back from the study will better our town.
It's a study of just opioids. And then you work with Bridging Lives too, right? And the Brockton Center.
Yes.
Is that, okay.
Yeah. But the cool thing is we actually got to go on a traffic stop today. Got to decide if we were going to pull someone over.
Wait, did that happen to me in the Rotary?
Yeah. We saw two people get pulled over.
See a big F-150 truck with lights on it going like 45.
No, we saw two regular police cars, but.
Well, we were stationed in the Cumberland Farms parking lot, and we were looking for illegal activity, and we saw We saw a nice 1985 Chevy truck with kayaks on the top. No profile whatsoever. We just decided to randomly run his plate. The truck looked really nice. We ran his plate and we found that he didn't have a sticker on his car. So he tried to be smart and get behind us. But that doesn't make any sense because we could just wait for you, pull around. So we waited for him to pull out. He literally knew he was getting pulled over, turned on the lights. Like, we let him get ahead of us a little bit so we could like speed up and go get him. And
All right, no more.
Good work.
Can I make a motion to go in executive session right now? Right now?
How do you prioritize where the police cars will like sit out? Like just the most like difficult like intersections or like where there's like high crime? Like where do you put the police officers?
well, I don't know if you've ever noticed like the speedometer things on the telephone poles that read the speed. So when the police department gets a complaint about speeding in a neighborhood, they'll put one out to see if there actually are people speeding. And then if there actually are people speeding and like the complaint is correct, then they'll send like people out there to like watch the area more.
So like what made you guys go to Cumbies and sit in the parking lot?
Yeah, I don't
just to, like run people's plates and
forcing
see what they're
the law.
up to.
Just we're on the hunt for some illegal activity.
Yeah, obviously not for the coffee.
Right.
Thank you.
All right, let's see. How about, did we miss anybody before we get to the town manager? I think we got everybody. All right, so why don't you guys come on up and tell us what's going on?
So yeah, the town manager is kind of like an all-in-one. So they kind of dabble in all of the different departments and are aware of all the problems that are occurring, and also like what these departments are doing, such as like the fire and how like they need another fire department, and like how like the land, how you can't build on every single land. And so currently they're trying to create like a new project, and they're trying to bring in people in like the Bridgewater downtown area by renovating it and like adding new like places to live and like restaurants and making it look all nice.
Yeah, so they kind of, we, as a town manager, you kind of oversee the budget. So we were told that the school budget from both towns is about 70 million per year. And then for the town of Bridgewater, it's about 56 million. So we have to spread that out between all the departments and seeing who gets what for the things they need.
So we kind of have to say no a lot.
Yeah, and we get a lot of complaints too, I guess.
So do you get the funding for this through things like taxes and from the town?
Yeah.
And like their bills and things like that?
Yeah, we do get taxes from the people, but we don't get taxes from the college or like the state-owned properties. We don't get taxes from.
Do you get help from the state funding?
It depends. On certain situations we may, but on others, usually not.
Usually just our own resources, right?
Awesome. Anything else?
Thank you guys.
All right, so this is the point in the meeting where we have councillor comments, and councillors usually talk about whatever's going on in their district or things that are coming up, events that might be coming up, or issues that might be coming up that they want to make sure gets out into the public. Or they may react to one of the department's reports by asking a question or having a comment about that. So now we're going to turn to our councillors and have them give us some of their comments.
Okay, so today we talked to the council members. President Dennis Gallagher, yeah, he was some good help.
Nobody else was apparently.
Everybody was really good. So we toured the departments. We found out like what problems I guess are going around, like with the fire department, of course, how that needs to be relocated. We learned about a new school is coming in instead of they're completely tearing down the one with the caved roof that happened a couple years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago, right? And we know that the town budget is 57 million, and that it's usually tight. Like they try to, they get complaints often on fixing like potholes and lands, but the budget is so tight that sometimes we have to focus our priorities. As long as we like listen to them and take it to account, then usually that just shows the people that that we're with them. And everyone on the board is volunteers. Like, they don't get paid anything extra. They do this as they have a main job in the day, and then they go to meetings in the night a couple times a month. And they're focused on helping the community overall.
And it's really not just these guys like making the big decisions. It's every department. Everything goes through every department and comes up to them, and they talk to the town and discuss and figure out the problems. And it's really mostly about budgeting, we found out. It's really just about finding the right amount of money and prioritizing it and making sure that, like the fire department, if they need new ambulances, like they'll get them in along with like the schools being fixed and things like that. So
very good. So this, I can tell you, in the 6 years I've been doing this, this is the most engaged group that, hopefully your brothers and sisters didn't come before you, but this is the most engaged group we've had so far. So I think the other department heads in the room will agree with that. So thank you very much. You guys really did a great job today, and you deserve a round of applause. So I would only say, I would ask you to thank the counselors who took either a day off from work or took time out of their work day to come be with you today. So I think they deserve a round of applause as well.